But no, I don't.
Wait, you're Christian though, right?
Yeah, we're Catholic.
But so are you not submissive to your husband?
I am.
But so if you're submissive to your husband?
I think bowing I think the connotation behind bowing can be seen as degrading. I think
You're married, right?
Yes.
Did your husband get on one knee to propose to you?
He did, yes.
So he kneeled?
Yes.
Before you?
Yes.
How much did he spend on the wedding ring?
I don't know. I did not ask him.
Sounds pretty degrading.
Here, why don't you hold up your hand and show us your wedding ring? And I don't know anything about wedding rings.
It's a sapphire.
Would you have been upset if he bought you a cubic zirconia?
No.
No? $10 wedding ring? Okay. In any case, he kneeled. Mm-hmm. He kneeled, right? Mm-hmm. Just curious, what's a bigger ask, a kneel or a bow?
You kneel once to propose.
No. Just answer the question, though.
A bow is worse.
So, which is easier physically to do, a kneel or a bow?
A bow.
Kneeling, like, I don't know.
Okay, so
I guess there's different kinds of kneeling. Like,
I don't know. I have a bad back,
fully
so
on the
bowing
ground,
would
or like.
If you have a bad back, kneeling is going to be way worse.
No, because you're using your glutes and you're using squatting to support you, not your back.
Lucas donated $200. And, to round it all up, I'm Greek Orthodox as well, both of us by birth. So our household is highly patriarchal with actual cross-generational deference to my father and grandfather when alive.
Interesting.
Awesome, Lucas.
Interesting. By the way, Grid 1, or sorry, not Grid 1, it was LOL Paladins. I know you sent one in, and I think it was, I agree that it just got pushed down. I agree, Chair 4. That's why you should DM after the show. I've only had sex with around 500 women, but I'm reformed now and looking to find a good Christian woman to settle down with. That's to you.
Okay.
Word. Okay. So, wait, going back to Lucas, by the way, thank you for the TTS. Wait, so your husband kneeled. Mm-hmm. He kneeled. Mm-hmm. That's degrading.
I think that's tradition, and I think that's not...
It's bowing.
I don't think that's a commonplace practice for women in our society.
Well, yeah,
and
it's not... Wait, but tradition... when you're talking about traditions, what do you mean commonplace?
Meaning that we're not brought up and accustomed to... I thank my husband in other ways, and I show him gratitude in other ways, but I don't think that...
What you mentioned, like tradition.
You're not brought up for tradition at all. Like, all of society is essentially railing against traditionalism at all times.
But because I live a more traditional lifestyle with my husband, and we do adhere to traditional values, and when a man proposes, he does usually get down on one knee. So that was something. But had he not done that, I would not have been upset. That was something he chose to do.
I don't get this talk about tradition, because women have totally forsaken
that's gone.
Their traditional expectations. So it's like women, even liberal, secular, atheist women, like still have their boot on men's neck when it comes to traditional expectations, when it comes to what men need to do: provide, protect.
What else do men need to do?
What else?
Yeah, just provide and protect.
Yeah.
That's it. Sure.
So are you downplaying what that entails?
Well, it's not like... what are you really protecting us from on a day-to-day basis?
From yourself and from external threats.
Like what? Like the chat? No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, like what?
No, mostly dying from the elements.
Ailments?
Elements.
Mm-hmm. Such as McDonald's or...
Such as like... You probably like air conditioning. And you probably like eating. You probably like those...
Well, my dad worked in HVAC for 20 years.
Yeah, you probably like electricity.
I mean,
you probably don't like
mom provided.
You probably don't like to die from a thing called hearth death, which is where you have to cook over a hearth, and so your dress catches fire and you burn alive. That was an actual way women used to die. A lot of them by hearth death. Luckily, though, you don't have to deal with cooking your food over an open fire, and that's because of modern infrastructure, which also enables you to work in almost any type of environment conducive to your needs, temperature controlled for your needs. And it's like, yes, that all comes from, well, wouldn't you know it, men. How many men worked with your father in HVAC?
Countless.
All of them, right? How many women?
I'm not downplaying.
Hang on, I just want to know how many women worked with your father in HVAC?
How many men right now?
How many women?
Women?
Mhm.
Oh. I don't think any. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so okay, going back to the whole traditional thing here. So it's just interesting, like, because we're talking about this bow thing and I bring up kneeling and you're saying, well, kneeling is this traditional thing. But I'm like, well, women have totally given up their traditional obligations. So it's like, you want men to kneel, you want men to propose, you want men to pay for first dates. You still want men to be leaders and masculine and take initiative when it comes to courtship and all this sort of stuff, chivalry, etc., providing, protecting. But it's like, women are no longer chaste. Women aren't virgins anymore. You're not feminine, you're not submissive. So it's like, that's my, maybe some of you are, and I'm not speaking about the table here, but it's like, if we want to talk about tradition, where's all the virgin women?
Well, me for myself with my husband, when we were speaking earlier, I am pretty traditional, and I do, even when though we don't have children quite yet because we did just get married in May, but even when we've both been working, I still take on the household duties of cooking and cleaning, and I still want to show him that that's something that I would like to pursue even more, especially when we do have children. I would like to hopefully stay at home. I don't know if it's possible in this economy, but
sure,
that is something
well, that's all due to Catholicism, though, right? Mm-hmm. You're leaning towards Catholicism, so that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But you would have to agree with Brian that as far as traditionalism, especially when it comes to a Christian household, that's gone, essentially. That's not promoted anywhere unless it's...
I think it's definitely lacking big time. That's why I try to uphold it in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Were you a virgin when you met your now husband?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
We met when I was in my earlier 20s, so.
Good.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's certainly an outlier. Most women are not remaining virgins. So it's just interesting to me that there's this sort of traditional expectation on men, not so much on women.
I would like to ask this question. I ask it almost every panel now, and I'd like to ask it for this one. So secular meaning non-religious, no religion. Can anybody here actually give me a compelling reason, if you were a man, for why you would risk getting married in modernity if you were not religious?
I gave you a few already.
Just one would be good.
Higher life expectancy, longer life expectancy.
Yeah, how much more life do you think the average man gets from being married?
You want me to remember the details of articles?
Do you think it's a lot?
I think it's several years. I believe it was several years.
And was that compounded with how religious they were?
Couldn't say.
Well, the answer is yes. So if it's a non-religious reason, right? I'm looking for a non-religious reason.
You're saying yes, but maybe send the links to the studies, because I don't know that that's even the case.
Yeah, but you don't even know how much longer the life expectancy is.
Yeah, so it's something we should look at, but I know that it's a fact.
It's a fact for some men.
Just like they make more overall. They do better with health outcomes in the hospital.
We went over the reasons why they make more overall, which is that they mitigate risk, and that's why they live longer too. It's because of risk mitigation, and so
then it's a benefit.
They work longer out. No,
right, but you could argue why.
It's a trade-off, not a benefit. Trade-off.
Okay, that benefits them.
Trade-off. Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Do you think that a man would rather work 15 hours more a week or sit on his ass and play video games?
I can't argue this because I don't know that
I'm asking you.
The work time.
What do you mean? If it, let's just assume, we're just going to assume
hypothetically.
Let's say 10 hours. Do you think that he would prefer to work 10 additional hours of overtime a week or not have to do that so that he can take those 10 hours for some type of recreation like video games, shooting guns, hunting, fishing, hanging out with the boys and drinking, or any number of those things?
If it took years off of his life, I don't know what
years being years. You're talking about a life expectancy. You're talking about 1.3 or 1.2. It's negligible. Negligible for most men. Now, if they're heavily religious, that increases. That's true. But we're talking about secularists here. So the thing is like, here's my question. Even if I were to grant it, let's just say it was like 4 years or 5 years even, right? And you were to ask a man, okay, hey, look, you can go bust your ass for an additional, 10 or 15 hours per week. Okay. Or you can spend the time doing recreation, right? And the type of recreation you do is going to be slightly more dangerous. Okay. That's what shaves off the life expectancy. That's what's so bothersome to me about your argument, is because you act like they're just like, oh, they just live longer. No, that's not how averages on life expectancy work. If you are moving towards high risk behavior, your life expectancy decreases. So it's just like the fact that they can go out and do recreational things that are slightly dangerous is going to increase the chances that they die.
Okay, but there's a lot of variables to this. Like, you can be dating somebody and not be married, and your partner still not want you to go out and do things. You might be limited to what you're allowed to do within the parameters of a relationship where you're not married.
Not on average. Here's what's going to happen on average. Here's what is happening on average. I'm literally explaining it to you, and it logically makes sense as well. You and I would agree that when you're talking about life expectancy, right, you're averaging this, right? So you're taking all of the averages of these men. Well, so here's what we find inside of these studies, okay? Especially this one you're talking about with increased longevity, health benefits, things like this, okay? If a man is working in his job for an additional 5 or 10 hours or whatever, not every job's going to be blue collar, right? They're just not. However, a lot of white collar people still do high risk activities, just like blue collar people do for recreation, because they're men. Men do higher risk activities. So if you take the time in the workplace away, and now they have more time for high risk activities, more of them will die doing recreation. Therefore, the average life expectancy decreases. That is, you say that this is a trade-off? No, not really. All it is, oh, now I can have fun, and that slightly increases my chance of dying early. Oh, no.
and being healthier. But like earlier, Brian mentioned that.
Well, no, it's not healthier.
Well, yeah, they are healthier on average as well. So it's not just that they don't die as often as that they...
Can we just reject this bullshit study?
Hang on. Healthier, first of all, no, it's not that they're healthier. It's that they have more doctor checkups. That's it. That's the only distinction.
So okay, but earlier, like, she had asked, what do men protect us from? And Brian mentioned yourself. Mm-hmm. You don't think, and I agree. I can tell you, men have been like, drive better, like, for one example, and that's valid. You don't think that it's a benefit? Like
they build all the roads.
Okay, but you don't think it's, oh my gosh. You don't think it's a benefit that you have someone in your life to, like, help you take less risky behaviors, or like, you don't think that it's overall a benefit?
No, not if I look at the high risk of divorce. So I saw what I'm looking at.
Okay, so you're saying that outweighs.
What I'm looking at is the mitigation, right? I'm just looking at the risk versus mitigation from a secular standpoint.
Okay.
So I go, okay, so here's what I look at.
But you just asked, what are any benefits?
No, what I'm asking you specifically is this: a compelling reason as a secularist to get married. You say, okay, it's because your life expectancy could increase. My argument to this is, yeah, not really. What's happening instead is that your recreation time is actually decreasing, and because the forms of recreation men do are dangerous, you could end up dying, and so it brings the entire average down. That's what's going on there. And then 2, what about the risk of divorce, which I think far outweighs all of these? So,
well, that part is fair.
So my question again is, my initial question was a compelling reason. I'm looking for a compelling reason for a secularist to get married.
That like outweighs the risk of divorce?
Outweighs the risk of everything else, yeah. That would be compelling.
Honestly, I don't think I would even do it. So But there are benefits to marriage, and I don't want to discredit that.
Nobody would argue that there's benefits to marriage. I'm not arguing.
Well, that's why I answered the way I did, though, because initially you just said give one reason to get married.
No, I didn't. I said give me a good, compelling reason.
Okay.
Yeah, compelling. So if when I think compelling, I think I should do this based on this reason.
Well, you could say there's like tax and financial benefits, but you could do that technically without marriage too.
You can. Yeah.
So yeah.
So I mean, I don't understand from the I've thought about this a million times because I'd love to tell secularists that they should get married, right? You should, but I can't give them a good reason why they should.
For love and to commit to somebody until you die.
Sure. Why do you need marriage for that?
There's a lot of you can whole life insurance thing.
You can get life insurance without being married.
Yeah, and
That's
power of
true.
attorney too.
Yeah. Well, it's a commitment. It's a commitment on
You
paper.
can commit
and
to
it's
people
also a
with
traditional.
You can
commitment.
commit to each other on paper, never get married.
Also, you can get married and then uncommit easily.
Yeah. You can break it easier than you can a cell phone contract. You can literally get out of your marriage easier than a cell phone contract.
Unless they keep filing for retrials.
So the thing is like, I'm trying to figure out what is a good, compelling reason for a person who's non-religious to get married. And I always come up with the same kind of answers, right? It's like, what about commitment? Well, you can still commit. What about children? You still have children. Like, what's the benefit to them?
Love. It's not, I guess, compelling to everybody, but I would say love.
Can't you have love without marriage?
Yeah, of course.
Here, look.
Yeah.
Okay.